Getting a couple hearts here. And two people have joined. Hello, hello. Say hi in the chat for me. See who's here. Hey, Luke. All right. What's up? How you doing, big guy? Um, I'm sort of wondering if I can send you a link. I don't know if I can do that after the show's started, though. That's a little tricky. What's going on in Heavy Metal Heaven? Glad to see you streaming. Yeah. I got a lot of artwork to do. This project here. This is it. Like, this is the big push to finish it off. So I'm gonna be grinding on this and streaming a lot. So there you go. I'm sorry, I didn't think to send you a link to join me, though. I just didn't. Kind of like got up from a nap and I'm a little bit not all there right now. You know, I'm just trying to like get my head on. You know what I mean? No worries, bro. Got an appointment with the bro. Oh, well, that's cool. That's cool. How is your new martial arts training going? I began teaching Kung Fu and getting back to sparring on Monday, so I'm psyched about that. Glad to get that part of my life up and running again. I need it. I need it real bad. A nap sounds awesome, but not as good as Michael McDonald. You can hear that in the back. I keep forgetting we're not in love anymore. Yeah, baby. So that's my best Michael McDonald for now. The king of falsetto. It's so funny how he was like the king of you know, yacht rock or whatever for a certain period of time. There's an interesting documentary about Steely Dan and like the work that he did with them and stuff. Said it was like some of the hardest recording that he had ever done, and they isolate the vocal tracks and stuff, and it's you wouldn't even think it was a human being's voice. It's just so crazy, you know. Dude, your Michael McDonald is on point. Well, thank you. Oh, dude. It's just so sad that we don't live like in the same town. You know what I'm saying? I mean, imagine how much fun we'd be having, you know? We'd be training together, doing music, this, that, and the next thing, you know? I might even learn line dancing. What do you think of that? Are you still doing line dancing? Is that a thing? Any luck there with the country girls, the cowgirls? I hit a snag with my car, so Shorinji Kenpo is on hold, but I'm still practicing the Ed Parker stuff on my own. Very good, very good. One of the drummer in our band in at the Whackfest, he is a Kenpo teacher. I don't know if you ever knew that. And he's fucking amazing. He's like phenomenal. Phenomenal. This dude he's like next level. And damn, man, it's too bad you guys didn't sort of get a chance to talk about that. I don't know. Did you get a chance to talk to him much at all? I know that you were, you know, you had women hanging off your arms the whole time, and everyone asking for, you know, autographs and shit. I don't know if you had time to talk to the little people, but anyway, no, fabulous guy, super close friend of mine. I haven't been dancing much, haven't. This makes me feel lonely because normally women just aren't for me. Oh man, this is definitely a thing. I actually talked about that a little bit on one of the recent shows that I do, just about like how fucking lonely it is out here. I can't identify with normies. I can't dumb myself down. It's hard to find somebody. It is. It's really fucking hard, and it's not cool. I feel like this kind of stuff needs to be addressed in the ethno state. You gotta make it so that everybody has somebody. You know what I mean? I think that would be really important. I wish I could hang out with you and your drummer again. I would love to talk Kempo with him. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can get you in touch with him if you want to just talk Kempo. To be honest, I think he is doing like an online video course type thingy. So if you're up for that, I'll contact you on Telegram and get you connected if you want. Okay. I feel like it's quite hard to do those kind of courses, but he does offer it. He just kind of started, so there you go. And now you know. Wow, cray cray. Yeah, man, I might be into that. I learned Musul. Farang Musul yo boseo kamsamnida. Mostly by video. Really? Oh, wow. That's curious. I didn't know that. Well, if you can do that, then you can do this. Okay? For me, it's very funny because he's sort of tries to convince me that Kempo and karate, not sorry, Kempo and Kung Fu are related in some way. And I actually kind of sort of believe him in some regards. There's just certain techniques and whatnot that I'm like, wow, yeah, that's strikingly similar. It's not, to me, it doesn't resemble karate. What I know of karate, that is. I feel like the number one thing about these guys is their speed. Techniques are techniques, but if you can do them at like 1,000 miles an hour, you know, then it's a whole other thing. He's extremely methodical, meaning like, excuse me, he's like kind of all about like the science of motion and that kind of stuff. You guys you'll hit it off like amazingly. It'll be really really good. I gotta fast forward this music a tiny bit. All the songs are good. Seminars are better, but they're expensive. Kenpo has a lot in common with Wing Chun and Kali. So now you're talking. Now you're talking. There you go. Yes, I love all that brainy Ed Parker motion theory stuff. Well, you're in luck. You are in luck, my man. And I think he'll be happy to touch base with you too. One thing, just warn you, he's hardcore Christian. Like I'm going like Okay, here we go. So there's an undercurrent of I'm using martial arts to convert you to Christianity. So yeah. Oh, thank you. So I've just gotta kind of put that out there. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna go down. Like if you can just be like, you know what, I'd really rather just stay on topic. You know, you know. We'll see how that goes. You're just gonna have to kind of. And I might be wrong. Maybe he won't do that to you, but like that's just what he does, just as a person. It's like kind of who he is. You know what I'm saying? What do we got here? Hippocratic oath. He is going to beat the devil out of you. Oh, so funny. Ha, ha. A touche. That was a very good joke, yes. Yes, he will beat the devil out of you, sir. The white devil. He'll beat the racism right out of you. You white devil, you. But yeah, that'd be really cool for you guys to connect to Mundo. Let's see. Luke says he had Israeli and Vatican and Christian flags on the walls. Uh, who did? Lol. I used to own a Zionist Christian dojo. Wow, really? Well, okay. But yeah, it's all good. It's all good. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. He would love to have a student like you. Like you're the kind of guy that he he's craving students like you. I being his buddy, like he let me just kind of hang out and observe his classes and stuff. And not everybody is not everybody has the hang of it or whatever. If you know what I'm trying to say, you can kind of show them 1,000 times and they just can't like pull it off. But somebody like yourself, you'll excel really, really well with him. So yeah, man, that's gonna be great. Wow, just made a cool connection here, guys. That's always nice. I gotta turn this off. Hold on. This is my jam. This is my jam. It's too bad Boz Scaggs and Michael McDonald never connected on do some music. Anyway, I think Dan Bongino had the white beaten out of him. Yeah, I mean, since day one, since day one when I saw him, I'm like, this guy's a scumbag. He's just I just hate him. I just like hated him. I just looking at him and like the way that he talks and this kind of like, oh, I know everything about this thing, and if you want to be cool, you're gonna follow me. He like has all these kind of like social cues that he gives off that are like, if you want to really be in the in crowd, you're gonna follow me, and I'm blah 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 blah, all this horse shit, and I'm like, I don't, some people fall for that. There's a type of, oh god, I wish I had language for this shit. Let's say you're out somewhere and then somebody starts talking football, and they're like, oh, football, football, and they have all the special lingo and they know all the names and they just start like blah 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 blah, rattling off shit about football. They're what they are is social cues that people who know about that stuff are like, oh yeah, well it's this guy and that guy and something something and language and it's a way to kind of corral people into a topic and then control the topic. and be able to kind of like be the leader of the group on X topic. Leftists do it like fucking religion. It's like totally, it's a thing with them. Like, when I'm out on like in the city and I'm on the scene or something, and I happen to kind of fall into a conversation with some people, they'll just start rattling off these kind of lefty talking points, and then everybody has to get in line and like, yeah, and agree, and oh yeah, and like, say something that's like, oh yeah, I totally know about that, I'm all about that, blah blah blah. It's just this weird sort of social behavior, and like, I don't know, I don't jive with it. So like he's got that kind of thing going on where he's like so eager to be the leader, and I'm like, you're not leading me anywhere, buddy. I'm not gonna. I suppose when you're an introvert like me, you are very sensitive to this kind of social cues, these kind of social cues. And other people, I don't even think know that they exist. They're not even, just like not on their radar. But once you get aware of it, you can see what's going on. There's a lot of times when you kind of have to banter with people if you're at work, and you're like, well, I'm at work and I have to get along with these people, so I better talk in code. You know what I'm saying? It's a type of code language, I guess. I mean, I could call it that anyway. Be like, oh yeah, something, and just kind of rub their social egos to make them feel like, yeah, we're all on the same team, we're all on the same page. And that shit just is like annoying to me, but it exists. If you want to be a functioning member of society. And MMA guys have their lingo, and police officers, military guys are huge into that. They're all like, they talk in all kinds of codes and shit. Like, they have all kinds of language that they used when they were in the military. Like, things like, hey, I got your six. It's like, the fuck does that mean? Well, okay, on a clock, the six is behind you, and it's what we say when, watch, okay, target is at 12 o'clock, or the six means, I got your back. Oh, okay, well, why didn't you just say I've got your back? Because I don't fucking know your stupid lingo. Just fucking speak English like a person. I'm not part of your subculture. It's not a terrible thing, but it's just like, people do have these weird, like, little codes that they want you to conform to, or it's not so much maybe that they want you to conform. Maybe it's just how they relate, to each other. But there's an in group and an out group. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know the lingo, you're out. And when, like, I'm out on the scene, there's a lot of people that do drugs and shit out there, and I don't do drugs, so I don't know what they're talking about when they're dropping all this lingo shit and whatever. And I'm kind of like, yeah, go over there. Just, I don't know what you're referring to. And you're supposed to act like, oh, that's so cool. Oh, you're so cool, you do drugs. Oh, man. Anyway, I just don't fit in anywhere. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. All right, let's read some chatteroonies here. Luke Mason, love this song. Yes, very good. Christian dad jokes. Luke says there were cars in the Bible. Adam and Eve were driven out of Eden. Aha, in a fury. The apostles were all in one accord. I feel as if Paul actually invented Christianity. Like, you know who I'm talking about, Paul. He had a vision. I don't know when did he live. Like how many years after Christ's death was was Paul around? Like more than 100, I think. Anyway, that's what they say. Christian dad jokes. Okay. Hello to POO. Beautiful. Why, thank you. Um, Nehemia. Wow. Hypocritic Oaf knows his stuff. Actually, you two guys. You know, Luke, you really should hang out in my Telegram more. Like, we have really, really, really good conversations. It's not a ton of people in there, but they're the best people. And you definitely belong there. Like, I like our whack OG chat because we're all friends and we've been, we were there. We're the OG whack people. But you should swing by, man. You should hang out more and get plugged into the conversations and stuff. It'd be great to have you in on that. So, Eric Orwell, the big news now is they are trying to attack his character. There's some bullshit news that he made a porno with his wife and it's out there and it's like so. To me, my immediate take was that they can't get him legally, so they're gonna attack his character. And in one of the recent shows I saw of him, I don't know the name of the show that had him on, but he went in detail about legal stuff and like how he's very, very much on top of it, and that you have to be, you know. And so that was quite awesome. That was quite awesome. And then, so like, I'm not like that type of shit is just. Normally, I'm very annoyed by it, but I actually feel like, ooh, that's a good sign. Even though it's petty and stupid and all of the rest of it, it's a sign that like they're after him because they can't control him. You see what I mean? So if they're afraid of him, then that means he's getting something done. And what he's getting done is creating a legal precedent for whites to create their own communities. That's massive, guys. That is massive. So, yeah, there you go. Oh, I see. I'm seeing your jokes here. Donald, you would be so proud of me for how well I got along with my Christian buddies at Patriot Jam. Very good. Every time the convo turned into a debate, I deflected with Bible jokes. So humor is a really powerful tool in that way, bro. This is kind of what I do when I'm out, like on the music scene, and then some lefty tries to like go there or whatever. I just make some silly jokes, and then everyone laughs, and then bloop, change the subject. I just move on and move away. But again, there you go. It's like that whole, we have to make you talk about Christianity because you have to conform to, XYZ. So we're gonna bring it up. It's like you don't have to bring it up. You don't have to do that. You're not. Are you hearing me? I don't know. Am I making any sense here? But I feel very much it's like a kind of it's like virtue signaling. Like take the concept of virtue signaling and then expand it into all of these different types of social spheres, if you will. So, and like Christians being one, yeah. And I personally I do get a little annoyed by it, but it is normal if you want to put it that way. Like it's just people's ways of identifying friend and foe and stuff like that. The drummer in our band at Whack, I introduced him to Mama P, and Mama P, of course, is very, very Christian, devout Christian. And I was like, oh, this is my buddy. the drummer, and you guys really get along. He's a devout Christian, and immediately I forget who said it first. Oh gosh, I don't I think my friend said like, oh god, I'm not good at Christian shit, so I don't know what this is called. There's like two kinds of. There was a time in Christianity where the Council of Nicaea, I think they are, where they took all these apocryphal books out, and so there's like Christianity before that and Christianity after that, and like first thing before even talking, they identified each other as like, are you before or after? And it turned out that they were on both sides. They were on either sides of the fence. So they both were like, okay, I guess I can't talk to you. You get what I'm saying? This is that kind of virtue signaling, only it's Christian. You get my point? So I guess it's kind of a human behavior thing. Anyway, let me try to get back into your chats here. You're absolutely right, Donald. I should hang out there more. I love the Flash. Oh yeah, dude, he's the Flash. So yeah, Hippocratic Oath. I think Paul was a contemporary of Jesus. He just converted after Christ died. I don't. Then we're not talking about the same Paul, because the Paul. I'm not up on like Christian history. I used to be, and I used to be a devout Catholic, but somehow all that slipped away. But I think Paul was the true author of Spaceballs. Dude, you fucking bastard. You fucking bastard. They didn't discuss canon at the Council of Nicaea. So again, like, don't hold me to this, dude. Come on, man. I can't, I'm not an expert on that stuff. I don't have a dog in that fight, if you will, If my drummer buddy was here, he'd be like, "Oh, you mean the blah 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 blah?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, that fucking thing. Yeah, that's right. I can't, don't remember what that is, but now I know. So as long as you say what it is, I'm like, oh yeah, that one. But anyway, so this page is done-ish. What's weird for me is like there's a lot of empty space in the background, but there's a lot of word balloons and sound effects that are just going to fill that. So it's kind of stupid to have like, like so many detailed backgrounds just to cover it up. That is foolish. Anyway, I'm just going to steal away, baby. Let's see. They did. Let me read a bit here. We got two really cool people in the chat right now. Yeah, man, I'm still working on my Zoroastrian Mormon voodoo cult. Nice. Where do I sign up for that, bruh? Where do I sign up? It's a seasonal cult. We all go back home in September. Aw, that's convenient. They did have lively discussions at these councils. These guys used to smack each other around. I don't know if martial arts was involved. Interesting. St. Nicholas of Myra actually punched dudes out. Wow, dude, that's crazy. Not quite what you think of when you think of, like, the old days of Christianity or something. You think they're all pious, They're like walking around in robes with candles and going, "Oh, no, domino, oh, domino, domino." Wow, that was really racist. I can't believe I just said that. I'm a terrible person. Anyway, moving on. Oh man, I'm so sad I didn't get a link to you, Luke. We would be laughing our asses off. It's just easier to actually talk, and bounce off jokes and shit, Jokes and shit. Alright, enough of this 80s shit. Let's get some real yacht rock. Get the fuck out of here. True story, it's on his Instagram. Luke says yes, right next to his Pepe meme. Oh, Pepe, you've been around so long. We love you so. You're a really good guy. For he's a jolly good fellow. What would we do without you, Pepe? That guy, I'm telling you. It's funny, I put Pepe on my normie account, and I don't know who really I don't know who really knows. Like, is it just some cute, silly frog, or do they actually know like the dog whistle? There's this lesbian girl that is, I don't know what it is. Lesbian girls like me a lot for some reason. I think probably the masculinity or something, or maybe I'm the father that they wish they had or something. I don't know what the fucking deal is. But she like, you know, looks at everything that I post, and I give her hugs and stuff when we're out and just have some fun or whatever. But she posts like really heinous, stupid shit. Like nobody is illegal. That kind of like just really anti-white, anti-American, liberal talking point stuff. And I'm like, existentially, you are my enemy. You know what I mean? Even though when we see each other, we're so nice to each other. It's all right. I think we're gonna make it. Isn't that right, Christopher Cross? What the fuck was it? What happened in the 80s where like music in the 70s was deep and interesting and soulful and had like cool commentary on stuff, and then everything just became cheesy and simple and stupid as fuck. Like definitely corporate interference for sure. I love Pepe memes. I'm a connoisseur. How's your meme stash? You probably have a massive amount of memes. You might like Dune. They invented weird combo religions like Zen Sunni. Ooh, Zen Sunni. The question is, would I ever have time to read that whole thing? The answer is no. I was driving around the countryside today, and I saw just some like a family sitting out in their front yard, relaxing on a beautiful day, and the dad was sitting in a lawn chair with a book, and I'm like, this is country living. Like the idea of like, oh, I'm gonna let's sit here and read a book. I'm gonna get into a book. Who reads books anymore? I know that sounds shitty to say, and it is, but like, I think when you're living in country time, there's more of a sense of that you have time, like you're not in some sort of hurry, and you can indulge in things like books. Or maybe not. Anyway, I'd read that. Luke says, I like the 80s Dune a lot. I didn't find the princess in the new one to be very motivating. You know what? That actress, she is in the Thunderbolts, Marvel's movie, The Thunderbolts, which is now labeled the new Avengers. If you see her in real life, she is beautiful, but hold on. They uglify her, like cut her hair and just make her plain, for whatever fucking reason. Hold on a second. I have a story to tell you in a second. All right, baby. Can you see that cool robot that I just drew? Isn't that nice? So nice. Anyway, what I'm saying is that they uglify her, they simplify her, but the actress herself is actually pretty attractive. And here's what's crazy though is that I'm friends with a girl out on the dance scene that looks a lot like her, but even more beautiful. And if you were to see her, you'd be like, you'd be like, you just kind of melt. She's totally alpha, way out of my what do you call it? Out of my league. But like super modest and sweet, and she doesn't like drink or do drugs or anything like that. And I don't know. There's like, I know women like that, you think if they're nice to you that they like you. You know, it fucking sucks. You know, it's like she likes me. Oh, look, you know, she's just being nice. Okay, calm the fuck down. You know, but she was, I don't know, she's got that kind of compassionate sort of character. And there was a while there where I was actually going through a thing, and she could like sense it, and she kind of sort of took me aside a little bit and like, "Are you okay?" You know, and that's not what people do on the house music scene. They don't, you know, that's not, it's just not a thing. You know, it's more like, "Yeah, man, let's all go crazy and have fun." You know, we're not here to listen to someone's problems or something. Um, so I was like, I let her have it. I was like, no, you know, I'm in a really bad place. This is a while ago, you know. I'm in a really good place right now. I'm in a fucking fantastic place right now. But at the time, I wasn't, and it must have somehow she could feel it, you know. And then I was like really moved by that. I mean, and it was what was weird is that this just flopped out of my mouth. I just said, "Look, you don't have to care about me. You know, you don't have to just don't start all being all like, oh, are you honey? Are you okay?" And I'm like, don't fucking start. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, don't get my hopes up, okay? I don't need that. You know, that's like emotionally draining when like a woman who is drop dead gorgeous and sexy to the sky, like shows that she actually cares about you. It's like just get the fuck away from me, you know, like that kind of shit. You know, because it hurts. It hurts. You know, it hurts a lot. Um. Anyway, I wasn't like rude to her or whatever, but so I don't know. I just try to enjoy it. I just try to kind of enjoy the vibe as much as I can. I flirt. Of course, you know me. Come on, I'm like king of flirting. But you know, I use my Michael McDonald voice on her. I'm like, and she just melts. And I'm kidding. I don't do that. That was a stupid fucking joke. Oh my god. Delete. That's it. I'm deleting this show. See, Luke, you get me all crazy. I act like a silly guy, which is good. Back to the 80s. Let's read some comments here. Hyrith says we're gonna make it. God bless her. God bless her. I actually am more positive about that now than I've ever been, and I'm it's kind of mind blowing a little bit. Which is funny too because like my Fed recently was like trying to like shoot me down and like you know say some like negative mean shit that's like supposed to crush your spirit. I'm like, you're just jealous. You're just jealous. Um, moving on. This song's got that like the doggone girl is mine vibe. It's, you know, that song with Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney. The doggone girl is mine. Oh, let's do it again, actually. Here we go. Well, let me read the chat here. I'm being an asshole. So rude. My meme stash is hairy. Okay, I don't want to go there. Let's back off then. Okay. Okay, I'm not reading the rest of it. Hippocratic Oath will get you the audio version of Dune Read. Okay, okay, okay. I can accept that. The robot is bitchin'. Cool. I'm glad you liked it. She's just being nice. Story of my life. Fuck that shit, man. Yes, exactly. Hate it when women get my hopes up. It's heartbreaking. Bro, your voice is fire. You know what? One of my in high school we used to do "Fire" by Jimi Hendrix. I should probably put that on YouTube right now just for fun. And I used to sing the hell out of that song. Like I would like just, you know, get real soulful and do some like high pitch heavy metal screaming and but thank you. That's nice of you to say. Anyway. So I'm locked down with the comics work. I got deadline. There's a huge amount of work to be done, and I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? So like the music stuff, I think I'm gonna really, really make a point to get into that when I can. I'm sorry, I've been promising that forever. I'm just a bad person. Let's see. Hypocritic Oath says, "What is he doing to her?" Doo-doo-doo. So let me try to pull up the old pages. Hold on, and I shall make it all clear. Um, Come on, pages. Fuck, I don't have the pages like readily handy. Um, just quick. She's a robot, and he's using her as like an escape vehicle because she can fly. I don't know how well you can see that in this image here, but she's like, you know how Iron Man like shoots rays out of his hands and feet. So she's got that out of her hands and feet. And it's, there's a bit of comedy in here where he reprograms her so that he can turn her into like this like little mini, you know, robot motorcycle spaceship, whatever you want to call it. And so he kind of mounts her from behind, to ride her out of the way, and then this other bitch shows up. She's like a kind of she's an old disgruntled girlfriend who, after he went off with some other woman, she shaved her head and became a feminist. How many of us have had that experience? That's like the story of my college years. And so he's just flying her is what he's doing. And I suppose we'll get into that. But I need better music. All right, let's do this. Ever heard of Fire by Arthur Brown? Fire, it'll take you to burn. I think I know the one. Yeah. Dude, those archetypes are on point. Whew, if you think that's on point, wait till you read the rest of the graphic novel. She's really into that manual transmission. Oh, oh, oh. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Oh. Yeah, the book's got like massive amounts of layers, and I'm telling you, man, it's really gonna be a thing when it comes out, when it hits the shelves. People will be like, "What the fuck is this?" And it just gets weirder and wilder as it goes, so that it's just a crazy fun ride, no pun intended. Oh, I don't know. I want to listen to this. I'm really, really picky about music. Anyway, it's not what I wanted either. Anyway. Hey there, Popcorn Powers here. Woohoo! What the heck is going on up in her back? So I was just asked that question. So let me do a little backstory here. Hang tight a second. There's this situation where there's these bad guys. Okay, we have like a reptilian, and then there's this war of these like female fembots. These are like the Karens, and then this one here is more like, what do they call them? I forget the name. It's sort of like feminists, like femoids. And there's a bit of a fight scene. I have a couple pages here I can kind of. Okay, so whatever. He's there's a big fight scene, and the dude is involved in it. There's our hero Uber Chad, and then there is his ex-girlfriend turned feminist with her fembots. So these are robots here, and they're like, okay, that's you broke my heart, and all men are evil, and you must die. And so there's this fight thingy that happens. Meanwhile, the reptilian is watching, and his little Jewish friend is doing the merchant hand thing, and there's all kinds of stuff going down. You can see on their T-shirts that they've got like this is like a uterus symbol on their T-shirt, and you can see it in there as well. This woman's face is from a meme. Oh shit. She's got red hair in the meme and red glasses, and she's like, "White people have no culture." That's if you saw the meme, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah." Anyway, long story short, he's got to get out of there, and he reprograms one of these robots to kind of be like a little. So you see how these robots use their hands and their feet to propel themselves like Iron Man. So that's exactly it. He uses this to turn her into like a little airplane, and then he's trying to escape the fembots. Fembots, no fun when they're built like a Ken doll. Wah, wah. J-ish friend. Yes, yes, yes. I remember that meme, Lefty Girl. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so imagine the entire graphic novel is filled with references to memes like that. You see what I'm saying? That's why this is pretty revolutionary. I didn't write the book, so again, I'm not trying to take credit for that. But my I designed 98 characters in this universe. The website's going to be launched fairly soon. There's video with like CGI animation of my characters and like a description of the story and all that. So we're right around the corner from excuse me, from this thing going live. It's gonna be on the market for Christmas, the big Christmas push for sales. You know how that is. You know how that works. But there's a colorist and a letterer who have to get to it, so I gotta cook. I gotta really get these pages done. If you think you know what I mean. So what the fuck am I doing talking? No, no. So like Karen is a meme. It's funny because there was a guy on here the other day that was a little upset that we're using the term Karen, and it's like, let's just lighten up, you know? Like it's not like racist against whites. It's just a joke. Just calm down. What are you gonna do? So yeah, it lampoons a lot of things in political and pop culture. There's a new character that's based off of Jordan Peterson. Now, you know how Jordan Peterson cries a lot when he does interviews? So the character's called the Town Crier. And like I'll just stop there. Kind of like, let it roll out when it rolls out, and you'll see when you get a chance to see. Anyway, yes, okay, I gotta catch up on some chat in a second. It's like it's raining outside. Let's check up on some chats. Crazy fun ride. She's into men. What the heck is going? I read that. Notice he escapes from the evil feminist demon via a love robot. That's deep, dude. Again, I mean, when you sink your teeth into this graphic novel, you're gonna be like blown away. This comic is going to embarrass Eric Orwell. Ah, dude, come on, dude. Backstory. Okay, I remember that meme turned her into a crotch rocket Kawasaki. That's the name of our new band, Crotch Rocket Kawasaki. No, 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 no. Hey, Splattercat's here. Excellent. They call her Big Red. Oh, yeah. Search Big Red meme and you'll see the image. There you go, there you go. And her face, like, it's very punchable, if you know what I'm saying. She's got this kind of like little piggy upturned nose and like those glasses. What the fuck is it with those glasses? It's, you know how we were talking about like social cues and stuff. It's kind of like feminists, little social cues to be like, well, I wear these kind of glasses. I'm this kind of bitch. You know, like I'm the one that's gonna like, you know, really yell at you in the library because you wore a MAGA hat or some fucking thing. You know, it's like, you know. Um, um, Extra, yes, yes, well played. Very good, very good. Wow, man, I got a really cool people in the audience. That's awesome. Um, das ist gut, ja. Das ist gut. Okay, because it's guaranteed. Oh, okay. They're called trouble glasses because it's guaranteed the bitch wearing them is trouble. Dude, you hit it on the head. You hit it right on the head there, man. Yeah, the one thing I always notice too is like there's this type of hairstyle. You've probably seen the memes of like, okay, I I love Marxism and I hate men, and it's like, don't worry, I've got the hairstyle for you, you know. And there's one that they do now where they trim their bangs like really high up. Oh, it's just like it's literally intentionally ugly. It very literally is. It's like, how can we be as ugly as we can be? You know. So, so fucking crazy world we live in, guys. Um, Hippocratic Oath says, Chanty's friend pulled the fire alarm on a men's group, then she berated them as they came out. Instant 15 minutes of fame. Is that literally what happened in that, like that meme or something? Was that what that was? Um, yeah, there's the whole like anti-masculine thing is people have to get that on their radar. Like, it's a huge part of leftism. Major, major part of it. This song sucks. Come on. I play too much Pink Floyd. I don't want to put Pink Floyd back on. I'll post the link on your Telegram. She kept shouting patriarchy and telling you to shut up. There's some weird ones out there. There's like this one where there's a girl at like a university and she like throws a garbage can at some like glass doors and she's just screaming and screaming and screaming and like total mental disability. But you do kind of have to wonder is like, okay, is this an act or are you really fucking crazy? You know what I'm saying? And I kind of feel like it's an act, to be quite honest with you. I think that it's a lot of that shit's just like, you know, then they go back to their feminist girlfriends and say, oh, you know, a man looked at me wrong today and I had totally had a meltdown and here's the video. You know, oh, we have to put that online and like, you know, turn it into a big thing, you know. Yeah, this music is not cutting it. I gotta get something going on here. Hold on a second. A lot of it's just like cheesy 80s soul music, which is not yacht rock. And so to me, yacht rock is like 1970s AM radio hits. It's very simple. It's not fucking brain surgery. Thank you for posting that link to my Telegram. So, message with Howard. Something serious is going on here. Welcome to Great White Ape. Welcome back to the show. Oh, Great White Ape. There's a guy in the chat named Luke Mason, who is a very close friend of mine and big time martial arts dude. So if you want to talk Tong Bei with him or whatever, you guys have some, you know, you can nerd out on some martial arts talk. Corona, what is, all right, let's see what coronavirus is here. Welcome, welcome. Splattercat, you detoxing from your keg. Ha ha ha. So there it is, and there you go, and now you know. Every day. Alright. I guess this is definitely a spicy image in its own way. I don't do like sexy stuff in my art. I haven't really. Yeah, I might once in a while do like a sexy maiden or something that's kind of like Conan world stuff, you know. But it's just not. I don't know, it's just not something that I do, I guess. Yeah, and the author of this graphic novel, it's the kind of thing where you really would have to read it, and then you'll get the humor of the scene, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's all about context. All right. I'm at work currently, so I must remain sober. Um, I I used to drink heavily, and I don't drink really any. I'll have a beer or two, one, here or there, But yeah, I kind of miss that though. But comes a time in your life where you gotta like pull it back. You know what I'm saying? Pull it back there, Buster Brown. This music might be a little too cheesy for this crowd. Do you guys have any recommendations for music I could put on in the background that would be cooler? It's not Captain and Tennille. Any recommendations? I'm thinking like, I don't know, Ozzy Osbourne or something. Um, Guilty Pleasure, Yacht Rock, yeah, massive, big time. Fashwave is good. Iron Maiden, very good choices. All right, give me 10 seconds. I shall let you enjoy this art while I pull that up. Hold on. Oh, baby. All right, let's get evil. Putting on some Nazi music. All right, we're there. Now I'm ready to start a revolution. All right, that hits the spot right there. That hits the spot. David Icke is in the house. Years ago, David Icke was like severely laughed at. Like he was on some show, and people weren't ready for his message and stuff. And but he was just a little over the top, though. Like just a bit over the top for normie audiences in the '80s. It couldn't it couldn't cope. With the things he was saying. Like it's just kind of like everything is one, and they're like, oh, if that's so, then like, are you Jesus Christ? And he's like, yes. And then people lost their fucking minds, and I don't think that's what you want to say. That's You're not gonna get people on your side and understanding you with that. How close can I get? Wow, that's pretty close. What I'm doing right now is really hard. Drawing small. That's what it's called, drawing small. And you have much, much less breathing room, so to speak. And you have to say so much with so little. And it's got to come across from a distance. That looks fucking great. So I'm just gonna compliment myself. Oh my god, it's so good. No, no, I won't do that. I promise I will not do that. Notice like this, you probably can't tell the scale of it, but like this is like a hair thin. It's like super, super thin. And you need that for special types of stuff. He said he was Jesus Christ, like as in small hats, hats. No, 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 no. It's he was just kind of being esoterically weird, and people couldn't really jive with it, and it's just like if you're gonna go there about that kind of like everything is one stuff, then you know you kind of have to put it in a way that's palatable for average people, if that makes sense. I do think, arguably, though, my version or my understanding of Christ's teachings are more like he wanted us to be like him and not sort of what it is now, you know. But that, I think, is heretical to most people's view. Wow. Oh my god. Fresh lines and fast waves. Good stuff. Wow, man, that sounded really cool. I like that. That should be like my tagline, you know. Fresh lines and fast waves. Come and get it. So I'm now doing the speed lines, which is the Japanese did not invent speed lines, but like they're really well. You see them in both American and Japanese comics. I think they overdo it in Japanese comics though. Like there's like no backgrounds. Everything's just got speed lines on it. But it's a really cool graphic device to because it basically indicates that the you know you're following whatever's moving that fast and the background is blurring. You can't see the background. I almost said blackground. Oh god, that's racist. Totally racist. Take that back. Oh man, this fucking music, man, setting me on fire. This is Carpenter Brut? Behemoth. And if you could see the video for it, it's all just clips of World War II tanks and explosions and shit. Robert Pyle, hello, hello. Sieg Heil to Robert Pyle. Oh my god, that rhymed. I saw the interview, yep. Alright, so there it is. I could probably zoom in a little. Yeah. So what else is going on? Oh, I don't know if I finished my point. That girl I was talking about, I can't remember the actress's name. She was, you were just mentioning she was in Dune. She is like, she's in the Thunderbolts. Her last name is Pugh, P-U-G-H. She's British. If you heard her speak, she's got like a very, very high class British accent. And of course, they you know, they cut her hair and they make her look kind of like a butch, you know. But otherwise, she's very pretty. So, and then this girl I know looks almost just like her, but much more beautiful. And so I saw the movie The Thunderbolts, which I urge you guys to check out. It's not that bad. You know, you gotta expect pretty much every Marvel movie is gonna have some shit in it. But there is a character in the film called the Sentry, and he is this. He's basically Marvel Comics Superman, only he has a dark side, and the dark side is really, really dark. So like try to imagine if like Superman had was raised by abusive parents, and that he could be triggered in some kind of way to lose his shit and then like kill everyone. Like that's kind of the Sentry. But he doesn't technically kill them. He banishes them to a sort of a nightmare land, like whatever traumas people have had in their life. They go to a dream world where they just have to live in those traumas. You know, it's kind of a deep character. And in the movie, this female character that I keep referring to, who looks like the girl I have this crush on, she's the only one that like saves him. Like she kind of holds him, and her hug saves the world. She like hugs the Sentry and pulls him out of the darkness. And I tried to tell her about that. I was like, you should see this movie because like that's you and me. Of course, this is a really weird thing to say, but and I don't think she'll ever see the movie. So, oh well. Warlock, good character. You know him? You kidding me? Warlock's one of my all-time favorite fucking characters. I love Warlock. Excuse me. And of course, James Gunn turned him into a goofy character. He's way, way, way cooler and more badass in the comics. But regardless, I gotta turn this down. Hold on. What was I just saying? It still was really great to see him in the movies. It's like a payoff, like if you're a huge comics nerd and you grew up reading these characters and then you see them on film, it's like, wow, that's a really huge payoff. Excuse me. Hey, Donald, what do you think about starting a campaign for Trump to pardon Luigi Mangione? We should do that. I'm going to put that out everywhere I can. I'll support it. I'll be honest with you, I'm not convinced that he is actually the guy that shot the CEO. I think he was just a fall guy. I think, do you understand what I'm saying? There's some evidence that indicates that it's not him. And that, like, the most compelling evidence I'm referring to, there's a photograph of the shooter with his mask on, from the scene of the shooting. Excuse me. And and then there's a photo of the Luigi guy who has like kind of a unibrow. He's this Italian dude who's got a unibrow. And the shooter does not. And so that is an extremely, that's an extremely strong factor, And like, how can you not fucking see that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Even though, like, symbolically, though, it could still be a good thing. I guarantee Trump will not do it because it basically signals to the world that, like, take the law into your own hands and shoot CEOs. But I would definitely support it, though. You know, so I have some other things going on at the moment that might turn into something bigger. I'm not really announcing that yet until the thing gets launched. But I would support this idea. That's all I'm saying. It's funny how like that kind of event really really shook up the deep state and like the people in power when they realized that common people can take the power into their own hands and do this kind of thing. You understand what I'm trying to say? I think, yeah. I fucking love this song. Um, whatever. Your thoughts on David Irving? You're a historian from the sounds of it. Um, I love history. I'm like a history enthusiast. I'm not a historian. And David Irving is the king. Like he's the fucking king. The man is like so important. It's funny. There was a I don't know. There's a name for this type of thing where like people say some actor died and it gets all over the internet, and then it turns out that the actor did not die. You know, it's just you haven't seen them in you know in movies lately or some shit like that. And somebody said that David Irving died, but he did not die. He's pretty old, you know. But we need like an army of David Irvings. You know what I'm saying? Who is David Irving for people that don't know? He is a British historian who has focused years of his life. He even learned German just to get a hold of documents on World War II and do a true historic study of World War II. And specifically, he has disproven the Holocaust with massive amounts of evidence. So you can only imagine. That's why you don't know who David Irving is. You know, you can imagine all the shit that goes with that. You know what I'm trying to say. So he's very eloquent. He's very intelligent. Guy knows how to talk about his shit. You know, he's got his all the bases covered. So that's what I gotta say. Okay. Everyone thought that Chevy Chase died, but he didn't. That's funny. Hey, that question was directed at me, Splattercat. I'm sorry. Use your wrench, Donald. All right, yeah, Hippocratic Oath is way smarter than me, so you definitely. The difficult questions just push them right over to Hippocratic Oath. Um, I'm looking back at Florence Pugh. Thank you. Reading. They're making an Aztec Batman. You know what that reminds me of is that the character of Namor, the Submariner in Marvel, they turned him into this like Mexican Aztec type dude, and I hate it. I like hate it. Hate it. It'd be, I mean, uh, it's just like I just can't. You know, I'm so tired of all this shit. You know. So you know what? I did actually reach out to Mark Collette to do a review of Superman, and he was excited about it. Said yes, but hasn't gotten back to me yet to schedule it. So I know he is busy. You know he's got a kid and he's running Patriotic Alternative, etc. So maybe I'll jump back on there with him. So yeah, and so I'm actually going to be doing a new show with. Should I announce it right now? A guy that's well known in the movement. I'll just put that. Who's kind of making a big comeback, and we're doing a show together. And we're going to be talking about mythology and lore, and looking at movies and comics. There's going to be a big comic book focus in the show. And again, it's the thing about teaching people how to read the symbolisms of these things, but ultimately about narrative control. It's about narrative control. You are who you think you are. You behave according to the programming that Zog has given you. And I think for our guys in the movement, it'll be an entertaining show. It'll be a fun show. We kind of already know that, you know, but you can see how significant that would be for others, you know, and people who are into things like Comicsgate, which you guys, I don't expect you to know a lot about Comicsgate, but when this graphic novel gets published, I will be reaching out to my contacts in the Comicsgate scene. Now, you got to understand, these guys, most of them, they were professional artists, writers, creators for Marvel and DC for decades. And then suddenly everything got woke and they lost their jobs, and they were too like, fuck that shit. I'm not doing like gay Superman. Fuck that. And then they went off to create Comicsgate. And their fans followed them. And these dudes will make, like 100,000 a book that they put out just in crowdfunding. So it is a force in culture. It is a powerful force. And so you can see there's a bridge that I'm trying to create here between what I'm doing and what they're doing. We are the far right. They are not. They are normie Republicans. So conservatives. Now, there's been a split, right? There's a split in MAGA, right? So this is the time for us to reach out to them and funnel them over if possible. It's not like I'm on some kind of mission to like convert anybody, but I think Trump is doing a good enough job of that to some extent. But do you guys get where I'm going with this? Am I making any sense? I don't know. Just had one too many tequilas before the show. Shit. I knew I shouldn't have dropped acid before the show. Not even making any sense. Anyway, let's move on here. I think so. Robert says, I think we adopted speed lines from the Japanese. I think the American way to show motion is using something that is moving like a cape waving. So, oh boy. You got a point there. I think your point is arguable. So I'll stop there. Warlock, good character, yes, I know. Some Mexican Batman. Hey, Donald, we read that. Your thoughts, David says, is all the more reason. I never bite the hand that feeds. That would be funny though. Gardner by day, superhero at night. History YouTuber named Tick called me the most dangerous Nazi because I was promoting David Irving in his comment section. So yeah, I'm the most dangerous Nazi. I'll send you that's. I mean, it's really just a measurement of how fucking stupid those people are, how cucked they are. Just bang, I was just talking about narrative control. Like people who don't understand World War II, don't understand Jewish hegemony, they're the ones out there being like, "Oh, you're a Nazi," and they think that when they call you a Nazi, somehow that's like, "I win, yay, I won." Like you get these fags that are like, "Oh, we found the Nazi, like, oh no, you're exposing me," like, what kind of, grow up, like these people. They have no idea, like, how way, way, way far beyond them that we are. Like, we don't. None of that bullshit works. None of it. So usually when I'm in a case where somebody's calling me Nazis and stuff, I try to use that opportunity to make rational, calm, adult, mature arguments for whatever the case is that we're having in the chat. And the point being that everyone else who's reading that thread will look at it and be like, wow, this guy's pretty cool. He's like, he's not biting the hook. He's not acting like irrational or whatever. We're not able to push his buttons, if you know what I mean. And that stands for something. And then now, of course, with the whole fucking genocide in Palestine and all that stuff. It's not really that far-fetched anymore. Like, people hate Israel, and they're starting to see, that Israel controls our government, APAC, all these things. They just don't know how to talk about it, and so we can take the lumps, we can be called the bad names and get out there, but my whole thing is like, don't stoop to their level. Like, don't. It's like 10 hours of this one track that I like. It's kind of funny. Anyway, get out there, make your points, share your links, do your thing, and let others see that, like, wow, it's okay to be far right. It's okay to be alt right. It's okay to tell the truth. It's okay to know the truth. You understand what I'm saying. Anyway. Victorian says, I actually made a video response to him and it got deleted. Oh, naturally. See, like, nothing says truth like deleting what people fucking say. You know what I mean? It's like a little fag, like, there was this one guy. I said something about World War II or something. What oh, no, I was talking about crime statistics, and he comes out with his little fedora and he's like, oh, well, oh, really, show me the like, source, that meme, source, where he's like an asshole. He's like, show me the source material that proves your comment. And I'm like, buddy, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. That you've got the internet right at your fingertips. What you lack is the will to understand, is the will to see the truth. You don't want the truth. Oh, well, you didn't show me the source, so I don't believe it because you didn't show me the source. And I'm like, what? Oh, so wow, that's a great excuse for you not to look it up for yourself, isn't it, buddy? You see what I mean? Like, I'm playing a little chess game with this retard, And some people they'll like my comments and be like, oh wow, man, you fucking nailed it. And then that's the point, is what I'm making. Is like, there's other people are watching, and we have an effect on those people. The more, I don't know, outspoken we are, the more confident we are. It's good. It lays the groundwork for a culture where other people can use their free speech confidently about our topics, our issues, our cause. So you kind of have to model the social behavior. So bang, that gets right back to the thing I was talking about earlier about social cues. I didn't succumb to his little fucking stupid social cues, like source. I'm not gonna. Why would I do your work for you, asshole? Why the fuck would I do that? You've already made up your mind, shithead. Because you think you're like, that's anti-intellectual. Why in the fuck am I gonna go, like, you don't own the frame here. Fuck off. You want the answers? Go look them up, idiot. It's in the age of information, ignorance is a choice, And so make a show out of these people. Like, yeah, that's actually a good, like, make an example out of them. That's what I'm saying. Don't get upset. Don't get, huffy. Don't get roped into any kind of insulting. That's 100% one of my top things. Is, how do I put this? Like, when someone starts resorting to insults, I'll be like, well, insults are not arguments. You lose. And then lose their shit, because it's like, no, you're supposed to back down because I'm insulting you. Don't you understand that insults are that means that I'm right? No, it means you're a loser. And there you go. And people respond to that. They love that. There's like if you do it eloquently, I think, you know. Anyway, enough bullshit from Donald Kent. I actually made a video. I read that you're an alpha Nazi Victorian. Hail Victorian. Ron Unz. What a name, Unz. Unz. Sorry. Ron Unz is pretty thorough and never seen him poke holes in David Irving's research. I consider that high praise. That's fucking great. Robert says, Donald Kent, hear what you're saying. I kind of have the same point of view. Hippocratic Oath, I consider David Irving a superhero. Brilliant. Well said, I agree. I can't finish his Dresden research. Gets me in the feels. Ooh, dude. Oh, yeah, man. Fuck, man. Yeah, I'm hearing you. That's a whole thing, you know. Like, there's so few people that know of the brutality that the German people went through after, like, just after World War II, and how villainous America was. Absolutely, like, disgusting. Like, the treatment of the German people. Very hard, very, very hard stuff. What about their justice? What about their fucking justice? You know, seriously. Splattercat. You as well. Okay. Wow, man. Anybody see Fantastic Four? Any comments on that? I thought it was very okay. I thought it was very meh. It wasn't what I thought it would be. They dropped the ball on a couple things. Other things were nicely done, but overall, kind of you know, a bit of the highlights would be I like the focus on family. There's a bit of a subtext about motherhood in there that's nice to see. Sue Storm is like pregnant while she's, you know, doing superhero stuff, which is like, I want to see a female hero that is a mother, and then that's a cool thing to be a mother. You get my point? And that, you know, you get the point. I don't have to keep repeating it. So that's a thing. I forget the Pedro Pascal or whatever his name is. He's a good actor. I feel a little like a little bit of race swapping there, like a Mexican guy playing Reed Richards is definitely a racial slap in the face. I like the actor, and he did a good job. He did a fine job. But I think you get what I'm trying to say. I'm not. I'm a, you know how I am. The what you call it? The thing who is and always has been a Jewish character, like that's not a hidden thing. You know, he had his little Jewish synagogue moments in the film, but it wasn't. Excuse me. It wasn't like subversive. It it didn't have some kind of messaging, you know, to it that was negative or whatever. It was just like, it's the end of the world. Galactus is going to kill us all. So spend time with your people, or you know, people that you care about, you know, and something like that. So, what else? What else? Galactus was fucking awesome. That was probably the best part of the movie. The female Silver Surfer. I wasn't, excuse me, I wasn't a fan of her, but they did win me over. Like it worked. There is a female Silver Surfer in Marvel, so it's not like they just invented it for this film. It actually is a character. And she essentially does the exact same thing that Silver Surfer does. What the hell is this shit? I hate trap music. Like, trap music needs to die. You know what I'm saying? It literally just needs to die. Excuse me. Um, what else? So it wasn't bad. It was entertaining. There were aspects of it that were nice, but it fell short. That's the kind of the sad thing of it. Much less degenerate than Superman, though. Like Superman was much more problematic, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Excuse me. There were things I liked about Superman, though, as well. Um, anyway, I can see crotch rockety Kawasaki Karens or Photastic 4. I'll stay here. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you. You are very much welcome here. And away we go. Um, this is weird. So this guy right here, Dr. Boa, he's literally, and I can't remember who he is, but he's one of the guys from the Frankfurt School. And like, if you saw a photograph of the guy, this is literally what he looks like. So like, the Frankfurt School created feminism. It's a Jewish psyop to turn women against men to destroy Western civilization. So that's the short version of it. And so, like, having a guy from, a cultural Marxist from the Frankfurt School in the comic, and how he basically created this woman. He had like some special, superhero serum that would, that gave her these like the bat wings and the powers or something. So anyway, again, when you read this story, all that will become clear. It will all become clear someday. Right Wing Death Squads by. Alright. Spider Cat mainlining catnip and watching Mr. Kentro. Nothing stays the same. I appreciate you guys. I'm glad to hang out. So I'm kind of wondering. Oh, we got some chat. I'm looking forward to your collaboration with Arval. I've always thought art and culture need to be a much bigger focus going forward. Dude, Corey, you're on. I'm glad you said that. I was kind of just about to talk about that. You must be psychic. Phew, let me gather my thoughts here. So, hey, check this out. I have been like watching every Arval interview that I can get my hands on right now. And I mean, mostly like the recent ones, the more recent ones. And he's doing a lot. Like, he's really in the spotlight right now. Again, the league setting the legal precedent for whites to have their own communities and that it's okay and all this. This is a really big deal. And people, I don't know if people underestimate that or they're just like burned out from the usual, you know, whatever, Zog, drip, whatever, all this shit that we go through. Anyway, and so he's very, very action oriented. He's very like a get her done guy. He's very, very smart. He's very resourceful. And in his, well, I'm essentially taking notes from his interviews and getting a sense of like where he's at, what his mission is, what what's the kind of overall dynamic with other influencers, legal stuff, cultural stuff, the whole kit and caboodle, you know, the whole shebang. And so that when I do have him on, I can kind of like pull all of that stuff together into the interview and then tie it together into a conversation about, okay, let's take this to the next step. So I'm kind of giving like a spoiler. Oh, pardon me. I'm doing like a spoiler of my show. Hey, hello to Chad Love. I got your book done. Very good. I'm enjoying the artwork, especially the art that aren't comics. Thank you, Chad. My publisher just told me that I made some sales and he's sending me a check. So I'm really grateful for your buying my book. So getting back to the question here, Corey's question. In the interviews he's been doing, there's certain themes that keep reoccurring, and they have to do with the movement and how, you know, what's going on in the movement. The problem is that there's too much infighting, and you know, if we're not a movement if we don't fucking move, you know. So there's, you know, for example, he just did an interview with Thomas Rousseau of Patriot Front. A little later, he did an interview with Nick Fuentes. I didn't know that there was some kind of a beef or something between them or something. And Arval was like, look, will you talk with people from Patriot Front? Like, you know, like an online, like a Zoom call kind of a chat, you know, not in person. And Nick knows that, you know, he's coming up and things are changing and he's getting his act together. He's growing up. You know, he's not the snotty, you know, shitlordy 18-year-old that he was a couple years ago. And so like there's connections are starting to form, and I'm aware of that, and I'm like, okay, well, how, in what way could I be a part of that? And obviously, how does that plug into the arts, right? So this is the overall kind of like the chessboard that I'm looking at. And you guys, since you are true Donald Kent fans, are the first people to actually hear me like divulge this. So what I did is I actually created a kind of, oh boy, I don't want to say that it's like a business plan or a something something. I'm laying out a structure for the movement to be a fucking movement. You know, to in a sense, it's modeled after like a nonprofit, and that influencers would have certain roles, and people like you guys would have certain roles, and everybody would, you know, do whatever they could do within their means, and that it's essentially doing what the left does is they organize, you know, they are organized, you know, they behave like a political movement. We don't behave like a political movement. You got too many, like, you know, spurgs basically who just, you know, they purity spiral, they fight about, you know, nitty gritty minutia shit, and then we're doing the work of our enemies by not getting along with each other and having all these fucking petty blah 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 blah. You know how it is. Not saying that those things are petty. There's actually plenty of like legit kind of beefs and debates and things going on, but none of that fucking matters in light of the fact that we're dying. Okay, I don't fucking care if you're pagan or Christian. We are fucking dying. Okay, we're disappearing. Talk about that when we win. Okay, you can go back to fighting later, not now. Get organized. Okay, so that's the spirit of what I'm doing, and then taking it to, like, I'm gonna propose a method to do that. And, you know, Arval being the guy that he is, who like, you know, he's smart enough, he's organized enough, blah, 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 blah. And he's an action man. You'll see what he says, you know. And the thing of it is not just him, it's that people are going to watch this video. This video is going to get, you know, seen by a lot of eyes. Of course, the ADL is going to see it, you know. But our people are going to see it and be like, wow, you know, wow, there's a plan. There's a fucking plan. You know, has there ever been a plan? Well, I want to create a plan. You know, so take all that energy I've had, where I was trying to, like, you know, create like the Heritage American Institute, or the like, let's get all of the like the Irish, Polish, and Italian centers to join under one roof, and let's have a Patriot Convention. All these things that I've tried to do over the years, I'm kind of taking all that energy and putting it into this. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. If you follow me, you would know about those things. Let's read some comments. Reading some comments. Give me a second. Hold on. Looking forward to Za. Nice brushwork. Thank you, sir. Tears coming out under the blindfold. Yes, that is what's happening. So this fucking cultural Marxist guy, he's doing like some MK Ultra shit on her, where he texts her, and she reads the MK Ultra shit, and then she kind of like, you know, has a meltdown, and she cries, has a meltdown, and that's so. If you, when you read the graphic novel, there's like it's a kind of a joke. You'll get it when you read it. Robert Pyle says, get his Dynamite Thor book too. That one's also good, as well as the Bizarchives book that he worked on. Those are good too. Robert, you're the fucking king, man. I love you, man. Thank you for saying all that. Thank you for getting the those books. You, I'm gonna send you 1,000,000 points, Donald Kent points. Corey says, doing the work of our enemies is something I see us do often. This is a term that I'll use as well. Be like, don't do the work of our enemies. Don't infight, because that's what it is. If you don't agree with somebody on any kind of point, save it for later. Or like, it's just, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, you're not helping anybody by getting people angry and rage quitting and burning bridges. You're not fucking helping. You think you're so fucking based. You're so fucking far right. But you can't hold a conversation with anybody in the movement because you got all these like minutia little provincial talking points that everybody has to agree on. And bang, it comes right back to the topic I said earlier about social cues. When your political culture is so over socialized that if people don't, you know, virtue signal on these social cues, then they're out of the group, and oh, you're a fag, and oh, don't listen to that guy, or I don't da da da. It's like, it's not helping, guys. It's not helping. You know, I never understood how we got to that to begin with, but my thinking is that it came from the podcast culture, because like podcast culture, Strike and Mike or any other type of podcast out there, there's a lot of like shitting on people. There's a lot of going after people, and it's like, it's shock jock is what it is. Literally, that's just like shock jock type of content, and you know it's just whatever, okay, whatever, like, let's move on. So I'm gonna be making that point, and Arval was making that point. Nick Fuentes was making that point. It's funny because like I'll share Fuentes clips and stuff into certain groups, and people will pile on me. They'll just like go. They'll just like fucking pile on me. Like, "Oh, Fuentes is a fag." I'm like, did you even listen to what he fucking said? Like, don't you realize, like, like the barriers are changing. The parameters are changing. The Overton window is moving. He was just on Candace Owen. Hey, Candace Owen, he's black. It's like, you're gonna get left behind. You're gonna get left behind. The movement is moving on. And all those little like, whatever you call them, those like virtue signals of the far right. They're not. They don't serve us. They don't serve us. So if you're an adult and you want to sit at the adult table, then you got to get with the message. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Hold on a second. My adult beverage has gotten lukewarm. I need a drink. Hold on. You guys see what I got at the local craft fair? That cool. Pretty neat, huh? Anyway, pardon me. Not good. Let's read. Let's read some more. Corey says we need our Spurgs, but they need their negative energy reined in. Excuse me, and guided in the right direction. Thank you. The Spurg energy is fine if it's directed at our enemies. Okay. Can we do that? Is that so difficult? Robert says Red Ice was my first introduction to our scene. I became aware of TRS a little later on. Really, Red Ice is a much different vibe than TRS. See, you're freaking nailing it. Like, you're killing it right there, bro. It's more adult, legit. It's when I say adult, I mean like it's like genuine journalism. There's hot takes and jokes, and it's natural but they're they're for adults. White Rabbit Radio. His name is slipping my mind right now. I interviewed him. Bald guy, really hardcore dude. Like he's really solid. Excellent stuff. Um, but yeah, I think I made my point about all that. So, what's his name? Arval he's really a philosopher. Like he used to teach like his YouTube or whatever was teaching Platonism and that's kind of his background. So he's a thinker. He's got that kind of thinker guy quality. Um, Meaning like I can have like a really nice rational conversation with him and what have you, what have you. Where am I going with this? There's a lot more that I want to say, but I'm like doing music, reading the chat, drawing, and like my mind is dropping the ball here. So yeah, I am going to present or propose this kind of system of like running the movement in this manner, and you know, put it out there, and then just kind of see how people respond to it. They're gonna love it or hate it. They're either gonna do nothing or they're gonna do something. You know what I mean? The thing of it though is that we have to kind of walk away from just the easiness of just posting memes and shit. The I feel like there's a bit of a echo chamber that we have where we're just listening to cool podcasts and reading based substacks, and you understand what I'm saying. Those are good things, they're not bad things, but I you know Arval is all about IRL. IRL Arval. He's getting shit done, and it's awesome. So I wanna go there. I wanna get there. Now, how does that? Where does the arts fit in with all of that? There's the question. That's a big, big, big question. The short answer is that I am and have always been kind of not kind of, but I'm in touch with all the artists that are sort of it's kind of like whack 2.0, if you want to call it that. People that were original whack members that are new whack members and blah blah blah. So I moderate a group with them, but it's a private group. It's not like a big out there, Nazi memes and shitlording, and it's not that kind of a group. It's really just artists talking about their work, helping each other out, and figuring out ways to sell their work and make a living from art, which is extremely fucking hard to do. So, if somehow there was some form of like, I mean, this is just off the top of my head right now, but like some kind of like almost ritual use of art in our sphere, that would be fucking phenomenal. If somehow or other, I don't know, like let's say pagans used our artists who are pagans to create, whatever they need for their rituals, or Christians could pay our artists for whatever they need for that. You see what I'm saying? Create online galleries, create magazines, create movies, create shows, get our message out there, provide like an alternative universe where people can see whites as the heroes of our own stories. there's a lot of fucking work. I mean, it's so easy to talk about this shit. It's not easy to make it happen. So this is kind of the thing is like, oh, let's do this and let's do that. No, there are people doing shit. So and I'm and I'm plugged in with those people. They know who I am. I have clout. I'm Donald Kent. So like it's great, and then if I can get to these people and say, okay, here's a plan, here's the thing going on, let's talk about it. But I really feel like there needs to be kind of like a meeting of the minds where like some of the top influencers are meeting with the artists and thinking, we have to resuscitate our culture, we have to recapture our people and our destiny. And art is in a sense a kind of propaganda. I'm okay with saying that. I don't think that's off. I know some artists would not like that. I mean, there's different artists have their own views on things, but yeah. So it's a very exciting topic. Um, Hold on a second. I'll get to you, Hippocratic Oath. Let me read some comments first. Red Ice TRS isn't Mike a Jew? Da da da. Mike was married to a half Jewish woman at one time, but he himself is not. Correct. People call him a Jew because he was married to that woman, and they did some Jewish thing at their wedding. So to me, that's precisely the stuff that I don't care about. Like I obviously do care about Jewish infiltration, and these things have to be on our radar, and that's fine. But once you know that you're in the clear, then it's enough. Let's just move on. Are you doing? Oh wait, say. Victorian Tempter would call him a Jew because he was. I read that. Okay, are you doing the Mark Brahman interview before Orwell? He might be a good inspiration for dissident art. So, excuse me. Um, right now, what I'm doing is thinking, what can I tell you and what can I not tell you? And it's not like it's a secret. It's more like when you do shows and stuff, you don't want to kind of spill all the beans. You let it happen so that when it happens, it's got more bang, right? Um, as it looks, I think the Mark Brahman thing was going to happen somewhere around the same time. But what I have not done, here's my strategy. I want to get locked in somehow with uh, all these names. Avril. Sorry, I keep saying it wrong. And establish some kind of connection there. Would be like if you know the interview is really just what are your thoughts on the arts as a part of what you're doing, with Back to the Land and all these things. So, he's game to talk about that, which is very cool. In the course of the conversation, I'm going to be bringing up like, we could do this, we could do that, we could do the other thing, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. And a lot of that type of conversation is also offline, or not offline, but like not on camera. Is what I'm trying to say. Um, so I don't know how that's going to pan out. I don't know. He's busy, he's got a lot on his plate with the legal shit and the community and this and that. So we'll see. Um, what I would say is that everything that I'm doing and that I'm going to be doing matches with what he's doing. So I don't see like conflicts at the how to phrase this. We'll probably have to figure out some shit. Like, okay, what would be the best way to do X? You know what I mean? But otherwise, I'm really, really hopeful that this is gonna turn into something. This could actually, and then if this graphic novel kicks off and gets a lot of attention, I could conceivably move that attention towards back to the land. And what, like, if I can get my concept of like getting influencers and people in the movement to act like a fucking movement and like follow a certain plan, like a weekly, monthly plan, then like the inertia from that could be insane. It could be insane. It's just you got to get people on board. People have to see the vision, and everybody has to do their part. You know what I'm saying? I compare it to the what is it, the what was it, Pinto Santa and Santa Maria, the first making an ass of myself, the first ships that came to America. Those were people who were fleeing persecution and settling a new world. And so this movement, in a sense, is something like everyone's on the ship and everybody has to play a role. You've got to work at this part of the ship, you got to work at that part of the ship, and together we can get the ship across the ocean of Zog. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then get to the other side, and over there we can build a new world. We can. I mean, it's just an analogy, but I think you guys kind of get what I'm saying here, is that we've got to figure out a way to cooperate. You know, and if people want to be spurgs and assholes, then they can be spurgs and assholes. They don't have to be a part of it. But I guarantee you there'll be tons of people that want to be a part of something. They just need to know, well, what do I do? And how does it plug into the bigger picture? So that's what I'm designing. That's what I'm working on. And, I've been working on that for a long time with other organizations, other projects. So I'm just kind of rehashing a lot of those ideas. And it's only as good as the people involved. If people do the things, that you're supposed to do as part of a movement, then you will see the results. You see what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to stop saying like fuck and retard and stuff on my shows. Sorry. Like I just need people to understand, like, my heart is in the right place. I don't mean anything. I don't mean to hurt anybody by saying those things. I'm just very passionate. But I think I'm gonna have to clean it up. Anyway, let's move on. Reading chats. We're doing the Mark Brahman thing. Yeah, I'm very excited about how the Mark Brahman thing could fit in with this. What I'm worried about, I'm just gonna say this, like, I'm a close friend of Mark, so there's nothing to be misunderstood in saying this. But Mark is a lion. He's a tiger. He's a big brain guy. He's got his own world. He's got his own ideas, blah blah blah, and they're phenomenal, and that's great. So, but as they say in China, two tigers can't live on one mountain. So there would then remain the idea of, like, okay, how can that work? How can Mark's ideas fit into this kind of like the plans of acting like a movement? Does that make sense? He has his sort of, I don't want to say agenda, but like ways of doing things to reach certain goals. And the goal is to resuscitate the Apollonian nature of our people, to resuscitate and reconnect with our Roman ancestry. I'm all for that. I fucking love that. I'm totally into that, It's not, but I'm also into the pagans, and I also support Deus Vult. You see, I support anything and everyone that gets us out of this fucking hellhole, that saves our people. And it's not going to be just one of those things. It's just not. We're a very diverse people. We have diverse ideas and personality types and values, blah 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 blah. So that working that out, of kind of figuring out how those pieces fit, is going to be challenging, but also fucking amazing. Like it'll be awesome. Like when and if and how that actually plays out will be incredible. But obviously, Mark will have to be the one to decide how he's going to do that. I can obviously orchestrate. I can be a part of such a thing, you know. And if I actually do take on some form of a kind of a more definitive role for the movement, and I'm interacting with people like Nick Fuentes and even people like Alex Jones and shit. Who knows? It could even get that far, you know. I would want it to you know, there needs to be results. Part of this plan, and it's just like having like what do you call it, nonprofit. There's going to be meetings. There's going to be data. There's going to be marketing. There's going to be analysis. There's going to be, you know, okay, you know, how was that campaign that we did last week, you know, or last month? Did it work? The fundraiser for so and so or such and such. How much did we make? Where did we go wrong in that effort? Like, how could we do better next time? You understand what I'm saying? Treat it like a real movement. Why haven't we done that yet? Oh, because, well, I don't like that guy and I don't agree with that guy. And then grow up. Grow the fuck up, please. I beg you. Please grow up. It's not working. It can't work. You know, we can't. Infighting is doing the enemy's job. Okay? That's it. I have nothing more to say. I'm not your mommy. I'm not your daddy. I'm not going to tell you what to do or what to say. I'm not going to, you know, go in and like referee people on shit on Discord or some shit. You know, I'm not doing any of that. I'm talking about, look, this is who we are. Act accordingly. Okay? Can you do that? Act accordingly. So I hope that I really, really laid out a lot of what I have in mind. Very interesting. Thank you for telling me it's not like I hate him. I didn't, or I did anything against him. I just have my own life, and I don't have time to look into everything. I think I'm. Oh, the okay. The Pinta Santa Maria and Nina, yes, were Colombia's ships, and they were looking for a trade route. Okay, maybe I'm talking about the Mayflower. Then I apologize. Let's use the Mayflower. Thank you, and I appreciate once again the checks in the mail for you, big guy. Honestly, dude, fucking, you rock, bro. I'm really grateful for you. Okay. Um, Robert says, I don't hate him either, but I did have a falling out with TRS Camp. Pretty much don't talk to them anymore. Wish them well. Okay. Holy shit, would that not be something if we could get Alex Jones on board with white well-being? um, you know, like Hippocratic Oath had a lot of really funny jokes about that recently. Because like Nick Fuentes was on his show, and Alex Jones looked like he was drunk. Like he was really just like his behavior was like, what's going on? But like he's kind of like the boomer realizing that Trump is not all that he promised to be, and that's a pretty harsh that's a very harsh pill to swallow, is what I'm saying. So um, anyway, um, Alex Jones is too old for the red pill. I would use him to expose your ideas and art. Yes. Nick doesn't really talk to Alex. He's talking to the audience and finding new fun. Absolutely. That's exactly what I would be doing. That's what it's all about. Yes. I mean, that's part of why I was so excited that Nick was on Candace Owens' show. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. And it seemed like nobody really got it. I kept trying to explain to people, this is big. You know, this is a major movement of the Overton window, and everyone was like, "Oh, like, guys, open your eyes. Something going on here." Um, Imagine if someone sued you for $1 billion. Well, that's pretty fucked up. That would, yeah. It's so ridiculous. $1 billion. I'm suing you for $1 billion. And Alex Jones is like, oh yeah, sure, it's right here in my left hand pocket. I actually thought he was done when that happened. I was like, how's he gonna, like I figured that his network show whatever would like shut down, but whatever. I sell a lot of supplements. Flies on me, falling hard, we're falling well. Out on the plains, we gave him out. King. Nick grabbed followers from Candace as well. This is why Charlie Kirk, oops, this is why Charlie Kirk refuses to talk to Nick or even name him. Kirk is weird looking, but he ain't stupid. See, that's like so on point what you're saying. It's so fucking on point. I remember, you know, seeing Kirk, like, referring to Nick Fuentes, and then there was this magic moment where he's like, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not even gonna say his name. And it was like he knew that like there was a kind of magic to it, like a magic code that like if you say the name of Nick Fuentes, that it will open the doors of magic and people will see the truth about Zog. And he's like, no, no, no. I get my money from Israel, so I'm not even gonna say his name. Otherwise, it'll break my Kabbalah. Fucking piece of shit. I have no mercy for these traders. It makes me sick. And those gums, ugh. Anyway, sorry, I just had to say that. What else? One of the Corey says one of the biggest steps we have to take is towards our own people and away from our enemies. Pardon me. So I'm vibe with that. I'm on board with that. We know who subverts us, but why are our people so easily subverted is where I believe the focus should be. So it's like, I mean, I could not have put that better. That is so on point. I do think that we do have to continue to expose our enemies, because just because you and I know it and the dissident right knows it, there's still a lot of work to do. You know what I'm saying? With like getting the rest of the world, excuse me, on board and understanding. So there's that. But like the obsession stuff or whatever, I mean, like this is all I'm kind of doing is saying like, yes, there can be a department of shitlords. There can be a like meme warfare department, and those would be the people that are good at going online and fighting the information war, and for with the intent of you know you know red pilling our people. You know what I'm saying? So, but again, there needs to be a lot of focus on other stuff. One of the ideas that I had is starting prayer groups. You know, harness the power of prayer. We've got so many Christians in the organization. Why aren't you doing prayer groups for our people? You see what I'm saying? Like, that makes sense. Like, that's who you are. That's what you believe. That's what you do. Why don't you set aside certain times and places, and or like write prayers and share them on certain platforms? And do you see what I'm saying? Like, this can be a spiritual movement as well as a political movement. And I think it should be. You know what I'm saying? No one has ever said that or thought about that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that needs to happen. I feel it very strongly. That needs to happen. Um, excuse me. What other things? So, like, yeah, but my point is, like, it's your point, is like, let's focus on solutions. Let's focus on some positive things. Um, and so, like, that's just one idea, for example. This is good. Oh, wait. This is good song to listen to for Thanksgiving. um, say his name 3 times. I dare you. Right? Yeah. That it was kind of, it was creepy. There was something about that moment where he's like, he even like lowered his voice. He's talking in something of like almost a whisper. And it's like, there's a certain person who is spreading lies about Israel, and he's so evil. And I'm not even gonna say his name here. It's like, okay, weirdo. When's the last time you saw your dentist? I'm sorry, that was just mean, and beneath me. I shouldn't have said that. I will say I appreciate the work he has done. The good things that he's done. But if you're not, if you're working for our enemy, then like, it's like, you don't get a free pass out of that. And that's where we're at. That's where the Overton window is. Okay, Chad Love Don, where can I get your song "Become Who You Are"? Well, I don't have it like for sale anywhere. It's on my YouTube for free. You can listen to it for free anytime. If you have a way of downloading that, you're welcome to do that. Um, but so, okay, here we are at YouTube. This is my YouTube. In the song, what was it called? Like, on the playlist, there is a section of music, and so you can see all my original music on there. Um, and there you go. I hope that answers your question. I was actually thinking I will probably play that song at the end of the interview with Eric. Um, just because, like, there's going to be a lot of people watching the show, so like, let them have a look at one of my songs. That song, I think, is probably the most fun. It's so well produced. Um, with all the background stuff and the full instrumentation. Um, oh, you said "Become Who You Are." I'm sorry, I was thinking of "Some Days Today." There's two versions of it. One is like it's like an unfinished. Oh, no, no. One is a live version, with the drummer who played at the White Art Collective, and then the other one is just me with an electric guitar. But like I said, they're here at my YouTube. Corey says, I think even when it comes to history revision, we need more focus on what was lost and what Germany looked like before it was targeted for destruction. I couldn't agree with you more, bro. I'm serious. Like, so this is what I'm saying is that, like, there is a massive amount of creative energy and intelligence. Um, there's so much in our people. Uh, there's so much energy and resources within the people of our movement. It's just that all of these resources are not like cultivated, used. They're not processed and put to use. Like those ideas right there are like, okay, great. So like if we can literally turn this into an organization, then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to direct you to this person or this page, and you can set up something something, and people can volunteer to be a part of that particular thing, and you have to figure out how does it work, how do we make it, blah 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 blah. Like get through the details of make it fucking happen. You know what I'm saying? um Asha Logos has a new series called, I think it's called Hidden History, or essentially the show is about uncovering and bringing back the history that's been subverted and destroyed and hidden. So what could be more important than that? And that obviously ties really, really, really closely in with the arts. So, that could be a whole art project in itself, is to say, do an exhibit or a magazine or a book on artists responding to, say, Germanic art of a certain period of time, you know, and within the artwork, it's telling the stories of who we are, our myths, our heroes, all of it, you see. And then that would be a lovely thing for people to own and share and pass down to their kids. And that's how culture is created. And it all starts with Corey, you see. It all starts with an idea. um yeah, World War II is so, the injustice of that is mind bending. um Aesthetically, World War II era Germany radiated strength, purity, advancement, and glorified family tradition, and everything that makes a healthy nation strong. So, there was an article recently. Oh God, I posted it. Anyway, it was like by Salon magazine, and it was something about like how Hitler had this campaign. He did a show of art that was called Degenerate Art, and it was to show the German people, this is the culture that is against Germans. It's against us. And it had, of course, a lot of Jewish art in there, a lot of degenerate art in there. And then, of course, the article was trying to say like, haha, Hitler, the great art of Western civilization from all these people, and you thought it was degenerate, like that kind of faggy, snarky, anti-white attitude that these people have. But it's the opposite. It's like, oh wow, I learned something about Marc Chagall. I learned something about Otto Dix. I learned something about these specific paintings and how they work against us, and they destroy culture. They destroy our narrative. They, you know, they warp the truth of us, and it's evil. It's fucking evil. So like Hollywood, for example, just one example, the music industry is another example, is just like a gigantic MK Ultra program. It's just a gigantic MK Ultra program. Seeing, I remember when I was a kid and I first saw like in TV commercials when white men, specifically fathers, were made to look like idiots. And I was really, really, really fucking offended at that. I'm a kid. And I noticed it. And then I noticed it again and again and again and again. And next thing, all the commercials were like that. And then the time came when you started noticing, like, wow, there's all these interracial couples. Or wow, there's all these East Indians. Or wow, and next and next and next. And it's just a gigantic MK Ultra program, you know. Moving on, I think artists like yourself are going to play a huge role in the revival of that energy. That is what God put me on this earth for. And I talked to God about that. I just spoke to God today about that. Dear God, show me how to serve you. Make it very, very clear. Remove all obstacles between me and why you put me here. Why did you give me all these skills, all these talents, all this ability, everything that I have, my history, my music, my everything. What for what? So I can just fade away into nothing? I have to I have to do something. I have to prove myself. I have to change the world. I've got to help, in whatever way that I can. It might not be, like, some high level something huge, but maybe it's just a step on the path, to help our people survive, you know. So that's what I'm hoping for. I appreciate you saying that. That like, you know, that you know puts sunshine on my spirit, and I appreciate that a lot. So let's watch and see. I'm very, very positive about the future. I'm feeling like all the pieces are falling into place, and I also should shut the show down because it's getting late. So good night to Chad, love. Take care of yourself. Corey, I want to thank you so much for your really, really excellent questions and insights. Huge thank you to Splattercat for moderating. Huge, huge thank you to Hippocratic Oath for, you know, helping me out and making me not look as dumb as I actually am. And good night. All right, gang. God bless. Say your prayers, and we'll see you next time. Okay, God bless.